At this time, I invite our seminarian to lead us in prayer.
Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with us today for the renewal and mission of your church, for we recognize that we can do nothing apart from you. Let the spirit of wisdom dwell within us, and may she provide us with knowledge, conviction, Christ-like love, and unity. May we remember that we are gathered not just with those on Zoom today, but with the whole great cloud of witnesses who have gone before us, especially those we worshiped with here at St. John's. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right, and to grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Hello. I hope you can see and hear me. Thank you very much for that beautiful remembrance of people who we lost in 2020. It was a difficult and challenging year, and we think of these people often. Thank you all for staying for this year's annual meeting on Zoom. I'm Victoria Robinson, beginning my second year as your senior warden or chair of the vestry. I'm happy to be with you this morning as we usher in this new year of certain challenge, transition, and on a positive note, excitement. I'm told we have a quorum, so let the meeting come to order. Today we have last year's annual meeting minutes to approve and a slate of deanery delegates and vestry members to vote in. But first, just a couple of logistics. Please know that the camera will be on when we count the show of hands, and please keep your hands up until we ask you to put them down. The annual meeting report was emailed to everyone early last week, but for your convenience, Scott, I think, I didn't check. He was going to, and probably has, left a link to the annual report in the chat.
I will do that right now.
Actually, I've already done it.
Thank you.
I've done it.
Let us begin. First, I move that we approve the 2020 annual meeting minutes by acclamation. These are on page 4 of the annual report. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay. It appears we have a quorum. The minutes are approved. Next, I move that we approve the slate of deanery delegates by acclamation. These are on page 7 of the annual meeting report. All in favor? Okay. It appears we have a quorum. The deanery delegates are approved. Congratulations to Carolyn George, Lila Green, Alexandra Sladoff, and Greg Sladoff. And finally, if there are no nominations to the floor, I move to approve the slate of vestry candidates for the class of 2021. Candidate bios begin on page 5 of the annual meeting report. All in favor of the vestry candidates, raise your hands. Okay, the vestry, we have a quorum. The vestry slate is approved. Congratulations to Pat Harden, Tim Johnson, Julie Nell, Kirby Marion, and Laura Pierpoint. We welcome you to the vestry. Now over to Scott, who will recognize our 3 outgoing and much loved vestry members, Lona Beeson, Kathy Crocker, and Ian Storer. Scott?
We have, the wardens and I have 3 resolutions to offer for your consideration today. Here they are. First one is for Kathy Crocker. Whereas Kathy Crocker's service on the vestry is not her first rodeo, and whereas the communal joy surrounding her repeat performance is not surprising given her thoughtful approach and high standards, and whereas she has effectively found ways to introduce corporate best practices into the corpus of a church, and whereas Kathy can, with grace, explain convoluted diocesan policies, and whereas she has led the National Board of Confirm Not Conform to new heights and been a constant source of wisdom on our Personnel Committee and Sunday School efforts, and whereas Kathy Crocker has performed her duties with such love, grace, and good humor in difficult times, be it resolved that Kathy Crocker has hereby earned the title Saint of St. John's. You may all give a thumbs up. Ian Storer. Whereas Ian Storer has served as the People's Warden during his term on the vestry, and whereas he has served the vestry diligently through turbulent times as he changed jobs and started his own company, and whereas he has an impressive understanding of church finances, and whereas he was willing to use St. John's as a guinea pig for his startup, helping us use our space more fruitfully and efficiently, thus enhancing our financing, and whereas he helped transform the feast of our strategic plan into delicious bite-sized pieces that made it easy to invite others to the table, and whereas his grasp of new and innovative ideas has led to the rector reading every one of his book recommendations, which is amazing given that he rarely follows such recommendations, and whereas in his service as a lector, the remnants of his Scottish brogue make us feel God is speaking directly to us, be it resolved that Ian Storer has hereby earned the title Saint of St. John's. Thumbs up. And last but not least, whereas Lona Beeson has not only served faithfully on this vestry but on others, it also not being her first rodeo, and whereas her influence reaches way back in time when her compassion and good humor during her interview of our current rector inspired him to accept the call. But don't blame her. And whereas she has called St. John's to put our money where our mouth is, having served on 2 capital campaign committees, and whereas she has believed profoundly in a vision that builds bridges of all kinds to our community, and whereas Lona speaks softly while somehow making us feel there's a big stick somewhere, And whereas there is not enough time in this annual meeting to begin itemizing the many ways she has served on committees and served through the years, and whereas Lona is always the voice of kindness and generosity in every meeting, showing us how respect and love are the best tools to build with, be it resolved that Lona Beeson has hereby earned the title Saint of St. John's. Thanks to all of you for your incredible service. I meant to put in there, whereas Ian is the father of Princess Julia. That has impact too. Also, at this time, I can't thank enough the leadership of the vestry. The vestry has shown through this unbelievably challenging year. What an amazing vestry we have, and what an amazing set of wardens we have. Victoria and Ruben, I can't thank you enough. And it is my great joy to announce that Victoria Robinson has agreed to continue on as the senior warden in 2021. Thank you. Yeah, let me see where we are. Okay. At this time, as I turn the meeting over to Andrew Gustafson to look at the financial report, it is very important to recognize somebody, and that is Nancy Coe, who has led our stewardship effort. I don't know anybody that would want to step up this year to lead a stewardship effort, but she did. And we are now at 98% of our goal. Thank you for your leadership. Unbelievable. Thank you, Nancy. And now over to Andrew.
Thank you, Scott. Hopefully everyone can hear me, see me. I'm in my closet under the stairs office. No, the ceiling is not falling down, I promise. So just want to, continue the thanks. This has been a tremendous year. My name is Andrew Gustafson. I'm on the vestry in my sophomore year, entering my sophomore year, as you might call it. And I was either happy or naive to join the finance committee this year as a liaison, but it's been a lesson to be sure, and a good one. So I just want to start by thanking all of you for continuing to provide the faithful financial support to our resilient St. John's community. As the vestry liaison to the Finance Committee, I'm very pleased to be the messenger today to share with you a brief finance overview. And there you can see some of the other members of the Finance Committee. So my thanks to all of them. We will hold a financial review session. This is very important. It was mentioned in the catalog that went out to everyone, but Sunday, February 7th, immediately following the 10 a.m. service, anyone who wants to stay and be a part of the financial review session is welcome to do so. Just stay on that channel, or if you need to join late for whatever reason, you should be able to join the St. John's Zoom channel and participate. We plan to record that, and I'll say some more about that at the end here. So how 2020 began. As noted in the annual meeting report, the year began with a significant focus on continued investments in congregational development. This was supported by a substantial 18% growth in pledges, so that's all of us, and also basically planned increase in facility rental income, and that's with a Montessori and other flexible rentals of our building. So that was what we entered 2020, our mind focused on. There was a pivot, as you've read in many sections of the annual report. In March 2020, we had to rethink the budget, and that included a big focus on careful cash management and also contingency plans for what other unknowns lay ahead. So that was tough, to say the least. And I'm pleased to share that we have some accomplishments given the difficulties that were faced throughout this year. We should celebrate how our community's contributions to St. John's have helped us sustain full staffing throughout the year, which is huge. We've maintained congregational engagement, and this is something that is likely to stay. You know, these forms of engagement will only grow. We've funded appearance and functionality of our campus, buildings and grounds, lots of improvements. Once we all return, we'll see those, and you've probably seen them in the report as well. We've preserved strong cash balances, and we've accomplished that astonishingly within close proximity to the budget. And so for that, we are very pleased. So here are a few important numbers for you to be aware of that tell us quite a bit about the state of our finances here at St. John's. As we began the year, the budget was going to be 20% greater than the prior year, which is why there was a huge pledge drive, you know, just to try to get everyone involved last year to sustain that. And so the budget projection was that we would break even or have a modest deficit this year. With the pivot in March, Jim put together contingency plans and budget projections that came to be known as the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we planned a revised budget that would land somewhere between the good and the bad. So we were optimistic we could do that, but we were also prepared for the ugly scenario. So you can see how a revised budget for the total contributed revenue was conservative, owing partly to not knowing what would happen to things like pledge revenue. We ended up doing 16,000 better than the revised mid-year budget, as you can see there in the first starred section, 15,969. There was also collective savings in our total operating expenses due to less use of office equipment, supplies, supply priests. So Scott was with us more consistently. Thank you, Scott. And the hiring of contract sexton and no stipend for junior caretakers as the nursery was closed. These are just a couple of things that contributed to our operating expenses being less than projected. And so you can see there that the 23 or basically 24K difference in total operating expenses to the positive. And then while our housing rental income was stable, thankfully, right? So our renters were stable throughout. Where we took our toughest hit, as you can see, was in the rental revenue from a Montessori and other flexible space rentals of our buildings and grounds by groups like AA and others. 2020 started with a rental revenues budget of $211,000, or sorry, yes, $211,000. And because of our campus largely being closed to facility rentals, we were staring at a projected 50,000 deficit before it was revised, and in the end amounted to an $18,000 deficit, which you can see there in the rental revenues section. So all told, our net operating total has us ending this year with around $3,533 deficit. That puts us much closer to the good than the bad, and thankfully not the ugly. So in closing here, together we have weathered the 2020 financial roller coaster. There are lessons learned from this past year that we will carry forward for many years to come. 2021 budget planning is underway, and we should be optimistic and hopeful about the year ahead. Your steadfast support makes everything we do at St. John's possible. And for that, we are all grateful. I know all of this just scratches the surface. So I again invite all who are interested to attend our financial review following the 10 a.m. service on Sunday, again, February 7th, mark it on your calendars, be there. There will be plenty of opportunity for questions and answers because I know that was a very high level overview. We do have a 12-page financial report that we could pour over together in that Q&A session. And if you cannot attend, again, we plan to record that meeting. And if there's ever anything else that you'd like to discuss, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself. Again, my name is Andrew Gustafson, or Jim, James Hassler, mentioned on the first slide. with any questions, and we can address those in your preferred format, whether that's by email, a separate Zoom meeting, whatever would be helpful. So thank you again. I believe at this point, Mary has a closing slideshow to share. So if there's nothing else, please take the virtual stage, Mary.
I'm going to make a quick comment here. I am grateful for all the work that the entire parish has been doing. I need to say something about the staff. This has been an incredibly stressful time. And what a joy it has been to journey with the team that surrounds me, and we surround each other. You know, think about what it's been like as a music director in this time. I mean, you know, Ben has done amazing things, continuing to work with the choir, creating with the choir, finding a way to keep lifting music and voice. And what would we do without music during this time? I am so grateful, Ben. John, I mean, you certainly came at the right time to manage all of our technology, and I can't say enough about everything that's happened. I hope everybody does a deep dive into the annual report to see everything that John has been doing, and the communications team especially. It's amazing how we're finding new platforms to be inclusive and invitational. So important, and also to act from. I just say something about Kathy, who's not officially on staff, but she's at every staff meeting. She is, I don't know how to describe Kathy. I don't know. You're willing to do everything, to clean up our messes, to get stuff done, to make sure stuff gets out in the mail. It's amazing as our volunteer coordinator too, how she pulls people in to help with things. We're going to be sending out, by the way, more communion and wine, and also including ashes this time in the next delivery. Guess who has to help put in ashes in every little tiny container, or at least she's volunteered to do that and make that happen. So that's really dirty work there. Steve has really been minding the shop. Steve Baronian, thank you so much for how you're taking care of that, our physical site, and for all the work we throw your way with not even a hint of complaint. And Keller, it's such a joy to be working with you in this time, because this hasn't been easy at all. And most of you probably know that we've started an online program for young families that I'm happy to say is no longer in the pilot stage. This has been so successful and well received that we are now moving into a new phase of this online program. I think we've had close to 50 Zoom meetings with children over the last couple of months. As we develop this program, and we hope to grow it. It's been a horrendous time, especially with, Keller, your care for the mental health of our youth, and that tension between trying to figure out how to bring them together. And so thank you for that. And it's such a great thing to have Sarah Yo. I didn't mention her name earlier, but I hope you all know who our seminarian is. They are such a wonderful resource to us and to the staff, and I am truly grateful for you, Sarah. This has just been a horrendous time to be to start as a seminarian without actually being able to physically greet people, but you're doing a marvelous job, and I look forward to serving with you in the year to come. So thank you, staff. Thank you for being on the team, and keep up the good work. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mary Lynn Lampe, who has graciously offered to, before the adjournment, close our meeting with a celebratory video. Thank you, Mary, for all your work on this.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mary Lynn Lampe. I am honored and grateful to serve on the vestry representing you and working and focusing on action and justice. As you know, I'm also executive director of Genesis, and we connect with about 17 different institutions and congregations. And do not tell the other Genesis congregations, but St. John's gets an A+ in the way that you've been able to continue to church during a pandemic. So I just also want to just give a shout out and some gratitude to Scott for being a creative and innovative and just really thinking outside the box during this pandemic. But just please don't tell the other Genesis churches that I said that, okay? So I created this. It was going to be a slideshow just of Zoom screens, like screenshots, and then it just like started growing. And then there was like this expectation that it was going to be, you know, bigger than it was. So it's just a video, and I hope you think it's cute. I want to give a shout out to the people who helped put this together. And also, like, let me pause. There are some small humans that are in this video. So Keller, if you want to get Evan, Andrew, if you want to get your 2 small humans, Merritt is in here as well. You might, I know they're not glued to Zoom right now staring at church. So if you want to give them a heads up, I know that small people love to see themselves on video. Just want to give a shout out to Ruben, especially, who sent me like a zillion pictures of baby Lillian, and just all the people who threw me some pictures. And also I took a ton of screenshots and just stole pictures from people's social media. So I hope that's okay. And of course, Zoom for bringing us all of this. So tell me, can someone give me a thumbs up that you can hear the sound? And there's really nothing to hear, but it's because it's just Zoom or iMovie's like audio. So here you go. Yes, I'm doing it.
At this point, Madam Senior Warden, it is your duty to adjourn the meeting. You're on mute.
Are we not doing a closing hymn? I thought
There
we
is no
might-
closing hymn.
Oh, okay. Got it. The meeting is adjourned.
You may unmute yourself.
Well done, Victoria. Well done.
Yeah.